All right, time to test this machine out. It came with this spool of thread on it. This is probably, well, I don't know how old that is, so we're gonna have to try it out. We'll see if it stitches. If it doesn't, I'll throw some other thread on here. But threading this machine, it's got a thread guide here that spirals in, and then I think this thread guide here, yeah, this is probably for the bobbin winding, because this path would lead down here like that through the bobbin winder. So we'll go around and down through the tensioner. Make sure we get behind this finger, and then under this hook here, actually this thread does rub on the front here, so it must go through both of these, and then through the tensioner, so around. Make sure you catch this spring here, and then it goes under that. Now through the take-up arm eye here. Once we're through the take-up arm, there's a spiral here thread guide, and there's a loop here thread guide, and there's a loop down here thread guide, and then need to have a one of these days I will keep one of those handy needle threader gadgets around and use it to thread machines with, but until then, there we go. All right. Now, pick up our bobbin thread. And grab a piece of fabric. bobbin is pulling the top thread down through, it looks like. Also, we're getting a very short stitch, which I've got this set for maximum stitch length. So I don't know. All right, that's maximum. Pop the bobbin out and give it a tug. That is a, let's switch it so it's unwinding with the, in the direction the case points. So we'll try that. The direction that you install your bobbin can make a difference in the tension on the bobbin. So alright, we'll move that lever a little bit. Yep. Oh, there we go. Now we're getting a full length stitch. So this feed pin must not have popped back into place like it should have. So this button is very convenient because you'll see it moves this lever and pulls a this pin out, and that pin is what engages the feed dogs. So if you lifts and lowers them, but if it doesn't slip all the way in, then the feed dogs don't operate their full distance. So the bobbin thread is still pulling the top thread through, so we'll need to adjust that bobbin case a teeny tiny bit. I think, but it's making a good stitch otherwise. Nice and even there. All right, let's set our zigzag width, and we'll shorten our stitch a little bit. All right. Here we go. Our zigzag is looking good. That bobbin thread is still keeping the top thread under, so let's settle that now. Get our little screw here and there. Not even a quarter turn on that screw because the bobbin case adjustments are that sensitive. Make sure that's in place. Hold our tail. There we go. Bobbin thread. And we can just do that in a straight stitch. So let's check this out. All right, and that first stitch there, that's much more even. We're getting about the same amount of blue from the bottom bobbin thread as we get gray in the back with this setting on 5. So that's about the spot for it. All right, now let's try out the buttonhole feature. So I don't actually know. All right, I don't know where I just let my, oh, there it is. Okay. So turn this to 1, and I don't actually know like whether you need to adjust these or not. Oh, I turned this dial and it held the reverse in. Oh, and I can feel the width button has gotten loose, so the cams inside have started to work. And our first feed is backwards. And then we turn our dial to 2 up top here. And that does our end. And always make sure that your take up is at the top when you're shifting. And now I shifted to 3 and the reverse popped out a little bit. And that is feeding gently forward. And I got to the spot where it matches the first thread I did. So we rotate to 4, and it closed the end in, and we put it back to neutral, and all that comes out. And we've got a buttonhole. Just like that. And then you can take your seam ripper and gently push it down between the two sides without cutting through the reinforcement thread on either end, and you've got a buttonhole. So look at that. Slick. It looks like I should turn the top tension up a little bit because it is pulling a lot of thread underneath for the buttonhole, but that's nice. I'm always a little dicey with this buttonhole, but it works completely. I guess the last thing to check is winding a bobbin. So let me find a bobbin and we will wind one up.